my name is Sam. Thanks for checking out this video. If you get to the end and liked it, then subscribe, bell notification, give the video a thumbs up. So with the situation being as it is in April, I was able to read an awful lot at the second half, really, of March, and with working from home now and everyone being under self-isolation, mandatory or close to mandatory, I made my list a little bit longer for books I want to read this month, and a good chunk of them are going to have to be audiobook only because libraries are closed, obviously. So, yeah, just stay inside, don't go out if you don't need to, don't be one of those dumbasses, and I mean, this is like peak time for introverts. We're thriving right now. So first off, I want to pick up The Magnolia Sword by Sherry Thomas. This is the Ballad of Mulan. I really want to touch the physical copy of this just to see what it looks like. I have very mixed, not super interested feelings towards the Mulan retelling thing. Well, it's not even a Mulan retelling. It was just the live version of Mulan that is not in any way a remake of the animated beloved one that we all wanted. And I mean, there's the whole, like, the actress was pro-police in China and all this other stuff. But I'm very curious about this. I have read one book by Sherry Thomas, the first one in her Sherlock Holmes retelling series. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. So I am really curious to see how I'm going to like this one. And if there will be a character that I love as much as Mushu. I am also picking up the Blackbird Girls by Anne Blankman. I'm so freaking excited for this. This is one of my most anticipated reads of the year. She is the author of, do I have it up here? Yes, I do. A Prisoner of Night and Fog duology, and I've also read Trader Angel. I was going to say Trader Angel by her, which is her standalone, and I really, really enjoy her writing, just so freaking much. And so this is a middle grade book set during Chernobyl. You know, that big whole ass event. I'm really curious. I just know it's supposed to be two girls like bonding and like building a friendship during this chaotic time period, which I can't, even with the situation right now, I can't imagine what it was like to be a kid, let alone an adult, or like just to live in that place during that time when the meltdown was happening. It's very weird. And I really need to freaking start watching that TV show that I know is out from HBO. Everyone tells me it's so freaking good. I need to get my shit together. I'm also picking up my arc of Thorn by Inasa Kanahani. I got this at the beginning of February, I think, end of January, and just with traveling back from my conference and then having to travel to Edmonton and then travel back to Quebec for a funeral, I just haven't had a chance really to deal with a lot of the arcs that I got from that conference. And I know this is coming out like really soon, or maybe it's come out this really recently, I don't know. So I really want to get it done. I just know it's supposed to be a retelling of The Golden Goose for fans of The Wrath and the Dawn and the Hazelwood. I absolutely devoured The Wrath and the Dawn duology. Have not picked up Hazelwood. But I'm really, really curious about this one. And the two people I know that have read the arcs of it said they actually really did enjoy it. It was a pleasant, surprise for them. So I have high hopes. I am also going to be doing a reread of A Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen. First time I read this, I didn't realize it was going to be at least 2 books. I thought it was standalone, but it's not. There's going to be a sequel. I'm just really excited. We're doing it as a group read in the TBR and Beyond group, which I think we all need a lighter, pick-me-up thing right now. And the author is going to be coming to the group. So I'm really, really, really excited because I just really loved this book. So I'm ready to do a reread of it to refresh my memory of everything. I just love this cover. It's I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but it's got glitter metallics underneath and it's so pretty. So our main character is Asian American, and the summer before she's supposed to go to university, her parents want her to be a doctor. She's going to, is it Milan? Her parents want her to go to this kind of camp thing in Taiwan to, get more in understanding of her Chinese roots and everything. They spend all this money that they really don't have to get her there, and then show up and everyone hooks up in this place. But it's really, there's a whole lot more that happens, but it's really, really wonderful. I'm also going to be picking up my arc, finally, of The Lifters by Dave Eggers. I have had this arc for going on 3 years now, and I originally picked it up just because it sounded like something I think our libraries could relate to, that this town, I think it's like a coal mining town, is like kind of like a ghost town now because the industries have died out, which oil and gas haven't completely died out in certain areas, but there's definitely communities outside of the city I live in that were completely like existed because they had an oil thing near them. And now that those are closing up, the town doesn't have any more businesses, right? So I'm just really curious, but there's like kids, there's tunnels under the town and they go adventuring, and I've never actually read a Dave Eggers book somehow, even though he's like I know the name, I've just always known the name. So hopefully I'll enjoy this. I really just need to get this book read though. It's infuriating every time I move my arcs around that I'm just like, I still haven't read you. Well, because I'm a basic bitch, obviously, I picked up Sarah J. Maas's new book. I still don't know if it's called the series House of Earth and Blood or if the series is Crescent City. I can't tell. If it's Crescent City is the series name, then it should not be bigger than the cover, than the actual title name. Whoever organized that kind of messed that up. But yeah, I just know it's Sarah J. Maas's adult fantasy series. She's branching out from YA. I'm really excited. I've enjoyed both of her YA series. The covers are beautiful. It's a thick bitch. It's a thick bitch. I just saw the word drunk pop up somewhere, so that's exciting, but I just know. Anyways, yeah, Brace Quinlan had the perfect life. Brace Quinlan is like such a, like an iconic, not an iconic, Brace Quinlan is such a fictional character name. It's kind of hilarious, actually. But yeah, this is another one that we're doing a group read in the TBR and Beyond group. Mass is not coming by any means, but we're doing a group read because we just know everyone's gonna want to read it and talk to each other, and we always have to tiptoe around people that have just, oh my god, don't spoil ACOTAR for me, blah, 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 or don't talk about ACOMAF because I haven't read ACOTAR yet. And I'm like, bitch, it's been out for years. I've had people yell at me that I spoiled fucking Harry Potter. Bitch, at some point, it's up to you to stay up on basic shit. I'm also going to pick up Stolen Time by Danielle Rowlands. This was a book that I actually picked up in January when I was on my trip to Ontario, and I stopped at Book Outlet and they had a copy, and I'm just curious. I know that there's present time, and then there's supposed to be like a love story that goes from like or is it, okay, so 1913 and 2077, so I like that it's both in the past and in the future, so I can like just mess with it. It's not like a present day one, and it's in Seattle, which is like an area that, like, no offense to Americans, but like as a Canadian, we don't have a very good a lot of your states don't have great branding outside of the country, I guess is the nice way of saying it, especially the deep south areas. Like, boy, do we not think well of you. Seattle's one that I'm just like, oh, that's where Starbucks originated, I think, and I know you get rain. That's kind of my entire understanding of Seattle. So I'm really curious about the time periods and the geography of it. I'm also hoping to pick up Twisted Fates, which is the sequel to Stolen Times. I have not even read the summary because I was just like, I haven't figured out Stolen Times if I like it. And I also just like haven't like put in the effort of that, I guess. I want to make sure that I enjoy Stolen Times before I'm like, okay, looking into. I don't like the concept of like a book one sucking and people being like, oh, it's okay, book two gets better. I'm like, no, then book one was shit then, and I'm not dealing with book two. You need to fix this first. So I'm not saying this book is going to be shit. You know what I mean. I'm going to be doing a reread of Wicked Saints by Emily Duncan. Actually, I think this will be the third time I'm rereading it. Anyways, I know the sequel, Ruthless Gods, is coming out in April 6th, I want to say. I am just very, very, very excited. I absolutely love this series. It's like just freaking beautifully designed. I'm just very happy that I have this book, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm in the mood for some dark Russian shit right now, and I just feel like I've read Shadow and Bone so much, and I'm just waiting for that TV show that, like, I need to, like, do something other than that. So this is a good substitute, and I'll be ready for the sequel. I high-key completely forgot that I owned this book until I randomly saw it at a bookstore somewhere, and I was like, hey, I think I own that, and I don't think I've ever read it. And yeah, I checked Goodreads, and sure enough. I don't know if I bought this or it was given to me from a friend. I'm not sure. But I know that the author is Canadian. She lives in Canada now, so I really, really want to like it. And I know the sequel is out. I think it's supposed to be like Indian folklore influences with like a badass female with some swords. And I feel like I've been more interested in that concept for an adult perspective, just like getting into the adult fantasy realm a little bit more, but not books that are like chunkers. Honestly, I think Bridge of Kingdom. Is it Bridge of Kingdom? The City of Brass. I don't know where the fuck Bridge of Kingdom is. The City of Brass really got me interested in that kind of genre and just all of those influences. I'm also going to be picking up The Life Below by Alexandra Morin, or Monier, something like that. It's the sequel to The Final Six. The Final Six was a very surprisingly just awesome book that I really, really loved and devoured. And the ending just like, whoa, like, I still remember. I think it's been a year and a half since I read that book, and I still remember the ending. So I am so excited to pick up The Life Below and see how shit goes down. I think it's just supposed to be a duology. I'm not 100% sure though, but I'm really excited for this one. And I'm waiting for it to go up on Book Outlet because I love the covers of the first and the second book. I am finally picking up Slay by Brittany Morris. I know that there were just so many people that when this book came out that were just so hyped for it because of the content about it, dealing with both sexism and racism, and the whole video game concept as well we're kind of trash for. Also, the cover is just freaking gorgeous, and everyone I know that's read it has really, really loved it. So I am just excited, and I know my friend Melanie, I think she read an arc of it, had said something along the lines, I don't even know if it was on a review, but I remember she messaged me too and was like, it's not something that I feel white people should critique. I feel like it's something that white people should try and like understand, like put yourselves in their shoes. It's not a book for us, it's a book that we should be aware of though, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's kind of the same thing as like The Hate U Give. Like, that's not a book really for me to make any critiques of it. You can be like, I loved it or hate it, but I mean, that's something that's very specific to, not something that I can be open and like an ally, but I will never understand what it is actually like to be racially profiled while shopping, or stop and frisk, and all that shit. So I'm very excited about that, and that's something I'm conscious going into this book with. I'm also going to be picking up Beneath the Citadel by Destiny Soria. I think I read this book like 2 years ago. I think she was an author in the TBR and Beyond group, but they're all getting confused in my brain now of who's visited, who hasn't visited, who's just we all read the book of. Anyways, I'm so excited about this. I don't remember a ton of it other than the beginning. It's one of my favorite beginnings of a book ever, that like you walk in the middle, I mean like you'll have to read, but like you walk in the middle and all of a sudden everyone's like immediately taunting everyone, and everyone's like, and then you're like as a reader like, what is happening? What? I was just put in the middle of this. I don't know what's happening. I'm here for the taunting though. Like, it's kind of funny. Like, and I just remember there's a lot of queer rep in there. And I just, you know, having a standalone fantasy that's nothing too deep, I'm excited for. I'm sad I haven't seen anything new from the author. I know writing is her side gig. I hope she can, you know, sell a couple other books, because I remember really, really vividly enjoying this book a ton. And I have her other book on hold through the library, which, as you may have guessed, can't access right now because, you know, library's closed. So yeah, Beneath the Citadel. I'm really, really excited to read this. Give this another reread and like refresh my brain with it. I'm also not sure if I'm going to get to this at the tail end of March or at the beginning of April, because I have the audiobook through the library. It just depends how fast I can get through the rest of my books in March. But yeah, The Strangers, it's the first book of the Greystone Secrets. I think it's supposed to be a trilogy by Margaret Peterson Haddix. It's another one that I had the arc for like, I feel like over a year now. And I just really want to read it. I'm kind of caught up, I feel like, a lot of the middle grade books that I had. So this is kind of the next step, because the second book is coming out like really, really soon, or has just come out. I was already really curious about this book, so I picked it up at Value Village finally when I saw it. And then like so many people have been like, oh my god, it's amazing. I'm so excited to hear what you thought of it. And I was like, okay, maybe I do have to move it up my TBR plans from what I thought. So The 13th Tale by Deanna Setterfeld. I just know that there's supposed to be like multiple stories within a story. I'm trash for that entire concept. I know it did like really well selling. Okay, I didn't even notice that. New York Times bestsellers. Because I remember seeing the book cover around the place, but that's kind of it. So I'm curious about this one. Like really, really curious. And again, I think it's just like this sweet zone that I found, especially in adult, like a historical fantasy blending there with books within books kind of concept, or even that feeling that the binding isn't technically historical fiction, but it really does have that feel to it. I just rearranged my whole bookcases, because I put all of my completed series together and then my standalones and incomplete series, so that I could have some areas that were like even, like for more than one book instead of like jaggedy, because that really bothers me. And when doing that, I realized that I owned this book and had never read it. I remember buying it and then I totally forgot about it. Okay. Timeless, Diego and the Rangers of the Vast Atlantic. It's a illustrated copy. Like, it's definitely like a more children's, like, fairy tale kind of book. I'm just really curious about it. I haven't heard of anyone about it. The illustrations are, like, look really, really pretty, though. I really, really love that. And it's a thick, heavy bitch. Like, oh my god. And yeah, so I'm just really curious about it. I'm gonna assume that the main character's name is Diego. Honestly, everything that I've looked, and I remember when I was, like, reading the summary and everything, it reminded me a lot of the Wandla series by Tony D. Terlizzi or something like that, which I really, really enjoyed that trilogy. So hopefully I will love this one too. I'm also so excited to read Supernova by Cass Morgan. It is the sequel to Light Years, which is another sci-fi fantasy that just like, or I guess not fantasy, a sci-fi that just kind of like blindsided me as being like not super big, so it's not this giant space opera, but it wasn't super boring, and it didn't fall into this like cheesy loop of like girl goes to space, falls in love, and like defeats galaxy kind of thing. And it was a nice sweet spot that I found in the last year or two, kind of along the same wavelength as like the final 6 in the Nixia series. So I'm really excited. It's another one that I remember, like, it's been over a year I think since I read Light Years. I remember vividly how that book ended, and I cannot wait for the sequel. It's another one that I think it's just a duology. I'm also finally picking up Empress of All Seasons by Emiko Jean. I think I pre-ordered this actually, and I still haven't read it. I just remember, I think it's supposed to be Japanese influences. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm 99% sure it was Japanese influences. And I'm very sorry from the moment you're dead. I remember like reading the summary and being like, oh, shake shit up, but I feel like kind of like no one talked about it after it finally got released, and I haven't really seen anything else from this author, so I think that's why it kind of kept slipping my mind or getting pushed down the TBR. But I'm really excited. Now it's supposed to like revolve around seasons or something like that. I'm gonna assume based on the title that was a very bluntly obvious thing. But I'm super curious about this one. Really, really super curious. And again, I feel like this is a good time of year for me to be like dealing with my backlog. I'm not starting a new series. I finished this and like that's it. I'm not now signing up for 4 more books for a series, right? So I feel like this is a good time of year to get this done. I'm also picking up The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. I'm so damn excited to read this. She's also coming back to the TBR and Beyond group, and we're also doing this as a reread for the group, so if you want to join in, feel free to join in. I love the cover of this so much. I'm hearing nothing but absolute, like, praise from top to bottom from this book, which doesn't surprise me because everyone just seems to, like, universally love Trisha Levenseller, and I cannot wait to read this. Again, like, even with, like, I think I like Daughter of the Pirate King more than I liked Warrior of the Wild, but I just really thoroughly love her stuff. Like, she manages to get like this really good banter, these strong female likable characters that aren't stupid and cheesy, and she does it in like really brief, like she gives you all the information you need, but she doesn't like drag it on unnecessarily, you know what I mean? I am going to give Marie Lu another go with The Kingdom of Back. I tried the Legend series, and what was her other series called? Was it Warcross? I tried both of those, and they were just okay for me. It is like the alternate perspective of Bax, like the composer's sister in the time period, which is interesting because I feel like that's something we talked a lot in university in my classes about, how we have a lot of these strong iconic male voices, whether it's in painting or composing or instruments, all that stuff, but we focus so much on studying them because a lot of them we don't know a ton about them, or they had like just like depressing endings to their lives, but at no point are we like, why aren't we talking about any of the women? And so I'm really, really curious to see how this is going to turn out. I am, however, extremely disappointed with what the publisher did with the cover. The cover itself is beautiful, and I was so excited to see it in stores, and then I got to the store and it's like, there's no foiling, there's no lifting, there's no holographics. It's just like plain printed on matte. Like, why the fuck would you do that when you got that glorious cover? There's nothing under the dust jacket either. Why wouldn't you put a foil tree in the under dust jacket? That doesn't make any freaking sense. And you knew it was Marie Lu. It's gonna do well. It did hit the New York Times bestsellers list. So what was your excuse for being such a basic bitch about this? And I think the last one on my list is I'm going to be doing a reread of The Light Between Worlds because this book hit me in the damn feels. I haven't read a Laura Weymouth book probably like 6 months because she only has 2 books, and I've read them both. And so I'm going back to this like Narnia shit that still messes with my mind because I don't know if this book actually happened or if the main characters use it as a coping mechanism. And the author didn't really answer us in the group. So I mean, like, it still really bothers me that I don't have a straight answer for that. So I'm really excited about that. It's World War II fantasy influences. It's amazing. I know that I love it. I know it gives me comfort. It also kind of pulls on me in a bunch of different ways. So I'm really excited to read this. So those are the books that I definitely want to get to this month. I also have a couple books that I've just like kind of like, I know what ones I'm going to go to if and likely when I read all the books that I have. I think that's 22. Should I check? Yeah, I think it's 22 books. April has 30. I should probably check this out. Does April have 30 or 31 days? I know there's some like rhyme that you were apparently supposed to learn as a kid. I never learned that as a kid. So I don't know when people are like April something and November, all the rest are January 30 days, something like that. I never learned that. So when people sing it, I just kind of stare at you blankly and I don't know what that is. So however many days in April, if I have like, you know, room for like 3 or 5 more books, then I know the ones I'm going to go to. So that is the game plan for now. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them, and what you are going to be reading this month. I'd love to know. I will link all of these books in the description box down below. I will also link all of my social media. If you follow me, I will follow you back, and stay the fuck inside, and have a wonderful day.